You're watching Defense Dynamics, a program that decodes the future of warfare, giving Indian perspective in defense technology and diplomacy. And I'm your host, Danveer Singh from New Delhi. In this episode, we will tell you about Pakistan's Al-Khalid tank as it faces criticism at home and struggles to match with India's upgraded T-90 Bhishma. Staying on Pakistan, we'll tell you of Islamabad's dashed dreams of flying the Chinese J-35 stealth fighter with no contract, no timeline and no certainty. On the other side, India readies to take a giant leap in indigenous aviation with IMRH and DBMRH, multi-role helicopters built for Indian skies and the seas. And in the Middle East, Israel's Iron Beam laser weapon goes operational, firing light instead of missile to defend its skies. But before that, major global defense headlines first. The Indian Navy is set to issue a tender for 4 amphibious warships valued at rupees 80,000 crore. The warships will enhance naval drone operations and act as command centers. Local shipbuilders L&T, MDL and CSL are expected to lead this project. 28 private firms are competing to partner with HAL on India's 5th generation stealth fighter project. HAL will shortlist 2 firms by September 30th to form a development consortium. The project is a key part of India's military modernization. Godrej Aerospace has delivered the first production unit of Kaveri Dry Engineer D1, marking progress in India's indigenous jet engine program. The focus is now on modular production and standardized components. The delivery moves the program from prototype to series production. Kongsberg Maritime will supply fixed-built propellers for Canada's River-class destroyers. The deal covers first 3 ships in this class with propeller production in Europe and integration in Canada. Kongsberg is also providing propulsion technology for United Kingdom's and the Australian naval ships. Pratt & Whitney is developing a new family of turbofan engines for munitions and collaborative combat aircrafts. The engines, scalable from 500 to 1,800 pounds of thrust, will reduce development timelines through additive manufacturing. Testing begins later this year, with full availability expected by 2026. In Pakistan, public debate has flared about country's main battle tank, the Al-Khalid. Retired commanders, including Lieutenant General Tariq Khan, have raised questions about its technology base and future relevance. Today, we break down what Al-Khalid actually is and where its strength and limits lie, and how it compares to India's T-90 Bhishma, and we explain. The Al-Khalid entered Pakistani service in the early 2000s as a Chinese-Pakistani design, a 125 mm gun, 3 crew main battle tank built for mobility and cost efficiency. Key facts: Al-Khalid mounts a 125 mm smoothbore with an auto loader, carries roughly around 39 to 49 rounds depending on the variant. It uses a 1200 horsepower 6 TD family engine in many models, giving a power to weight ratio of about 25 to 26 horsepower per ton, good for high mobility. Critics, including some retired officers and analysts, say the original Al-Khalid design is 2 decades old, built from a 1990s Chinese Type 90 lineage and dependent on foreign subsystems early on. The charge, while upgraded variant exists, the baseline design lacks some of the more important modern active protection, integration, and modularity now common in newer MBTs. On a side, India's frontline medium tank is the Russian T-90 Bhishma, continuously upgraded in the Indian service. But the larger question, where does Al-Khalid stand in comparison to India's T-90? Now let's compare the characteristics of Al-Khalid with T-90 tank with the help of graphics on the video wall right behind me. We'll talk about the weight and the armament first. As far as weight is concerned, Al-Khalid is at 46 tons. 2 tons higher is T-90 Bhishma at 48 tons. The armament, primary armament or the main gun, both of them have 125mm smooth bore gun with autoloader. As far as secondary armament is concerned, these tanks carry a similar package there as well. Both of them have 12.7mm anti-aircraft machine gun on top of the turret, as you can see on the photographs as well. As far as engine power is concerned, Al-Khalid is better poised with 1200 horsepower engine, and Bhishma T-90 is little underpowered with 1130 horsepower. As far as power to weight ratio is concerned, Al-Khalid has a power to weight ratio of 25 to 26 horsepower per ton, and that of Bhishma is 18.2 horsepower per ton. As far as operational range is concerned, T-90 has got a little edge. It has an operational range of 550 kilometers, while that of Al-Khalid is at 500 kilometers. So there is a difference of around 50 kilometers. Maximum speed, again, Al-Khalid has an advantage of 72 kilometers per hour speed, while that of T-90 Bhishma is at 60 kilometers per hour. We just saw the comparison of characteristics of Al-Khalid to that of T-90. Both of them have got a similar kind of package, hardly any difference. But difference lies in the modern cutting-edge technology, which makes the survival a key to the battlefield. So let's try and compare that with the help of graphics again on the video wall. Let's compare the protection system that these two tanks have. As far as Al-Khalid is concerned, it has got modular composite armor and explosive reactive armor plates that can be put on the tank. Likewise, the T-90, it has got composite layered protection ceramic ERA. Now, the composite layered protection ceramic is of a higher caliber, so to say, when it comes to protection, and the T-90 is better protected on the battlefield as compared to Al-Khalid. Now, the next part is the other protection measures to do with the electronic measures. So T-90 has got a better array with electronic, active electronic and skilled counter measures, while Al-Khalid has got passive protection only. So this is the difference. While one is having an active protection, another is having mere passive protection, which is an old technology. Now, when we move further ahead, the next part of survival is through electro-optical jammer, infrared dazzlers and jammers that equip on the T-90, while as far as Al-Khalid is concerned, it has got thermal smoke generators. Incidentally, thermal smoke generators are these things which we can see on the tanks here as well. So these are common, these are old technology, proven stuff from the older times, so there's nothing very great about it. And then it has got IR reflective coatings. So there's nothing, again, very big, major different than what the older tanks had. As compared, T-90 is far, far more superior when it comes to these kind of survival equipment on board. So this is how the T-90 is more superior than Al-Khalid with the latest incorporation of UAV and counter UAS systems. Al-Khalid is miles ahead. Correction, the T-90 is miles ahead of Al-Khalid.
Pakistan has not stood still. The Al-Khalid 1 and upgraded packages have added improved explosive reactive armor, ORAC Mark II. better fire control system, and modern thermal sights, narrowing some capability gaps.
India's frontline medium tank is Russian origin T-90 Bhishma. Continuously upgraded in Indian service, it uses 125 mm gun, but Indian T-90 variants feature heavy contact ERA, that is explosive reactive armor, contact series and later Kaktu style on newer batches. Proven Russian countermeasure suits and Western thermal sights integrated for better target protection. Head to head, both have 125 mm guns and auto loaders. Both fire modern armor-piercing fin-stabilized discarding sabres and can launch gun-launched missiles. Where T-90 generally scores higher is overall protection packages and proven countermeasure suits, whereas the Al-Khalid scores in mobility and some recent electronic upgrades. In short, not a lopsided gap, but the T-90, especially the later Indian variants, typically offer stronger passive and ERA protection and more mature fire control and integration baseline. Now the Indian T-90s are being upgraded with attack UAVs and counter unmanned aerial systems. Operationally, the difference matters most where tanks must absorb long-range kinetic hits or face modern tandem warheads and top attack munitions. Upgrades to sensors, explosive reactive armor, and active protection systems are what closes this gap. And that's what both the armies are pursuing. However, the T-90 moves way ahead with its armed unmanned aerial vehicles and counter unmanned aerial systems with integrated artificial intelligence in shooter-to-sensor loop. So the debate sparked by senior voices in Pakistan is not just about pride, it's about procurement, upgrades and pace of technology. The Al-Khalid was a big step for Pakistan's armor. Modernization will decide whether it stays competitive against upgraded T-90s and future challenger tanks around the world. Pakistan's hopes of flying the Chinese J-35 stealth fighter remains a distant dream. The fifth generation fighter jet is still in prototype and carrier trial stages, and with no confirmed deal with Pakistan, thus making even an early 2030s induction highly uncertain. The chatter around this deal began way back in early 2024, when the Pakistan's Air Force Chief declared that the foundation had been laid to induct the stealth aircraft FC-31, better known as the J-35. By December, local reports were predicting deliveries in the coming months. In mid of 2025, post-Operation Sindoor, various global outlets quoted unmanned officials claiming that China had offered up to 40 jets to Pakistan. But as of now, all is vapor. Zero public contract, no induction ceremony, nothing resembling the past China-Pakistan deals like that of J-10C fighters or VT-4 tanks. Part of the reason is simple. J-35 isn't ready. Still under development, its engines are maturing, carrier integration continues, and production remains limited. Analysts say it may enter Chinese military service only in the late 2020s, with exports possible only thereafter.
But the deeper reason is political. For Beijing, the J-35 is more than hardware. It is a sensitive technology package.
Despite being China's closest partner, Pakistan has never fully cut its links with the United States. F-16 sustainment, training, even intelligence cooperation with the United States, all of it still persists. For Beijing, exporting a stealth fighter into this environment risks leaking design secrets straight to Washington. That caution explains why China has not offered J-20 fighter jets to other countries and why even the so-called export-ready J-35 remains out of Islamabad's reach. Some experts say that China is also calculating the regional fallout. Delivering a stealth jet to Pakistan would harden India's stance, accelerate New Delhi's weapons buy, and push India closer to the West, an outcome that Beijing definitely wants to avoid. So, 2 years after the first public hint, the conclusion is clear. Pakistan will not be flying J-35s this decade, and even in 2030s, the odds remain ambiguous. India's helicopter fleet is at a critical juncture. The workhorses of the Indian Air Force and the Army, the Mi-17 V5s, are aging, and the Navy, while inducting American MH-60Rs, is still looking for indigenous strength. And on the anvil is HAL's next big leap, the Indian multi-role helicopter, or the IMRH, and its naval twin, the deck-based multi-role helicopter DBMRH. The IMRH is a 13-ton class helicopter to be designed to replace the Mi-17 V5s. With the capacity to carry 24 to 36 troops, sling loads up to 5 tons, and advanced avionics, it is the most ambitious rotary wing project undertaken in India. Unlike the Soviet-era Mi-17s, the IMRH will feature a glass cockpit, 4-axis automatic flight controls, composite blades, and survivability features including armor protection, radar and missile warning receivers, and flare dispensers. It will also be true multi-role platform, equally apt at troop lift, disaster relief, casualty evacuation, and even limited strike missions with rockets and gun pods. For the Navy, the 12.5-ton DBMRH is being tailored for deck operations with folding blades and marinization. It will carry dipping sonar, sonobuoys, torpedoes, and even anti-ship missiles, making it India's first indigenous multi-role naval helicopter. Compared to the Mi-17 V5, the IMRH matches payload and range but adds modern survivability and mission systems. The DBMRH may not equal the combat-proven MH-60R in sophistication, but it will give the Indian Navy numbers, cost advantage, and sovereign capability. Together, the IMRH and DBMRH mark India's entry into medium-lift indigenous helicopter club, ensuring self-reliance, reducing dependence on Russia and the West, and giving the armed forces a helicopter fleet built for Indian conditions.
India's next generation helicopters are not just about replacing Mi-17S or supplementing MH-60R, they are about strategic autonomy in the skies and at sea.
Israel has declared its futuristic anti-missile laser system Iron Beam fully operational. Developed by Rafael and Elbit system, the high-energy laser weapon is designed to intercept drones, rockets and missiles at a fraction of current cost. Defense experts say it could change the battlefield equation across the Middle East. The Iron Beam fires a 100 kilowatt high-power laser that can burn through drones, rockets, mortars, and even short-range ballistic missiles. Unlike missile interceptors, it relies on concentrated light energy, traveling at a speed of light to destroy a target within seconds. Traditional interceptors cost tens of thousands of dollars each. While the laser shot is almost cost-free, defense officials describe it as cheap as turning on a light. That makes Iron Beam especially useful against mass barrages of cheap rockets or swarm of drones. The system complements Israel's multi-layered air defenses that includes the Iron Dome, David's Sling, and Arrow. Where the dome and the arrow rely on costly missile interceptors, the Iron Beam brings a low-cost, high-volume solution against saturation attacks. How does it work? The laser locks onto a target with adaptive optics, concentrates energy on a small point, and burns through its structure. The speed of light means multiple engagements chances. If the first shot fails, the system can re-engage instantly before the target crosses the Israeli skies.
So what exactly can Iron Beam take down? And how does it shift Israel's war calculus? The Iron Beam has proven intercepts against UAVs, rockets, mortars, and aircrafts at operational ranges. In recent trials, the system shot down threats across multiple scenarios, including drone swarms and short-range missile launches.
Now let's talk about the direct energy weapon. Israel has tested the Iron Beam with the help of graphics and the video wall. Before I get onto the text, let me just explain you this image. In this image, you can see this particular is the projector through which a laser is directed at the target, and this appears to be aiming point from where the aim is taken on the target is fixed and the laser is fired. It is a high energy 100 kilowatt laser. It can target drones, rockets, mortars, and short range missiles. And it is easy to do that because it has got a very high speed. As far as cost is concerned, it is absolutely negligible as compared to somewhere around $50,000 US when we talk of high-end interceptors. Range, obviously, it has got a very long range as compared to the classic interceptor missiles like the Iron Dome or the David Sling. And as far as speed is concerned, well, it is absolutely fantastic because the speed of this weapon system is that of the light, where it means instant engagement. When it comes to integration, it has got a fantastic capability to integrate itself with the Israeli air defense systems like the Iron Dome, David Sling, and the Arrow missile system. The advantages are many. One of the most striking advantages that it can counter saturation attacks, as we have seen how Iran had attacked Israel, or how Hamas and Hezbollah had been attacking Israel with hundreds of rockets at one point in time. And thus it saves millions of rupees in budget, dollars in budget.
This matters because Israel faces constant rocket and drone threats from Hamas, Hezbollah, and Houthi fighters. Traditional missile defenses strain under barrages. Iron Beam promises cheaper, faster, and more sustainable protection. While other nations from the United States to China are testing laser systems, Israel is the first to field a fully operational high-power laser weapon. Experts say this gives Israel a strategic lead in directed energy warfare.
From cost efficiency to speed, Iron Beam is set to reshape air defense across the Middle East. For Israel, it could blunt rocket barrages and drone swarms at scale. For the region, it signals a new era of warfare where lasers, not missiles, may decide the skies. Israel is worried. Egypt's military buildup in Sinai Peninsula is raising red flags in Tel Aviv. The Camp David Accords had turned Sinai into a buffer zone, lightly armed, carefully monitored. But over the years, Cairo has pushed in more troops, citing counter-terrorism and border control. For Israel, that changes the equation. What was once a neutral buffer now looks like a potential threat. With Gaza still unstable and regional politics in churn, Israel sees Egypt's move as a test of trust and peace itself. The Sinai, once a guarantee of calm, is back in the spotlight. With this, we come to the end of this episode of Defense Dynamics. Thank you for joining us, and do post your comments with hashtag DD with Danveer. See you next week with more defense stories and geopolitical developments. Till then, goodbye and take care.